Hey you guys, and welcome back to The Joys of Life. What do you do when social distancing is being implemented and everything is closed? You tell stories about when things weren't. So today is going to be a story time. Basically, I wanted to tell you guys the story of my pregnancy and my delivery. So just a little bit about the pregnancy and mostly the delivery. Okay, so first of all, I have been bugging my husband all 2018 about starting a family, as a lot of wives do. And I finally let go of it because I was pushing and he wasn't, biting. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna live it up and we're gonna party. And then when he tells me he's ready, then we will go in and we'll start a family. So I had really let go of it, and I was like, we were having fun, we were going out. New Year's we went out, had a great time. That was a wild night. Oh man, those are good times. Those are good times. So we went on a small trip a couple weeks later to Chattanooga. Something happened during that trip where I was like, this has never happened before. And I got the idea in the back of my head that I could possibly be pregnant, but I was like, nah. I just kind of put it in the back of my head. Well, a couple weeks later, I decided to take a test and it was positive. And that morning at 6 a.m., I called one of my best friends and I basically told her at 6 in the morning that I was pregnant. I was excited, I was scared, I was just all the above. First kid, you don't know what to expect. So that was definitely something to remember. And I told her I wanted to put something together to surprise my husband about it. And she told me, Joy, I suggest you do something small at home. And I was like, girl, no, he likes, me to do romantic gestures every now and again. So I planned a reveal at a restaurant, so we were gonna go out to eat and have it revealed. I expressed to the manager that I wanted it to be something quiet, back off in a corner somewhere where nobody would be suspecting of anything. I should have known to cancel as soon as I got there because the person behind the counter, I said, hey, I have a reservation for Joy. And the server was like, oh, congratulations. I was like, girl, what? How do you know? All right, it's fine, it's okay. It's just one person. So we place our order and the manager comes out. I had put this little box together with the pregnancy tests and a little onesie and, super cute. I'm dropping. Super cute. So they come out, it's 10 servers. They all have their phones like this. Other people in the restaurant are turned around looking like, oh, what's going on? And they present my husband with the box. I wanted to crawl under that table because I thought they were gonna give us the privacy. I didn't think I had to say, I want this to be private. So my husband, of course, is like hyperventilating, I could tell. Like he's like putting on a good face for the cameras. And he's over there freaking out. And when everybody leaves, he just tells me like, I need a minute to process this. Can we please take this to go? Like for my sanity, I just need to be somewhere quiet to process this. It makes for a great story, but it was not fun at the time. So we're beginning to prepare and budget and get ourselves ready for this new child that's coming into our life. And at that time we start, actually, I took the test to make sure that everything was going okay with the pregnancy and to find out the gender, because I wanted to find out the gender and I really needed to. I don't know what was going on with me back then. I found out it was a boy. I was a little upset because I wanted a daughter, but I just had to get over myself. because that was ridiculous. I know now, but at the time, you know, when you're pregnant and your hormones are all over the place, sometimes you overreact to things. And now I'm so happy I have a son. Like, he is everything to me. So I'm actually really glad I had a boy. So I don't know what was going on with me. I was crazy. Around this time, we're getting prepared for the baby shower. I was, you know, they have the bridezillas. I was the mom-to-be-zilla. I wanted to have my hand in every detail of the shower. The shower turned out beautiful thanks to my mom, my sisters, my mother-in-law, one of my best friends, my godmother. They made it beautiful. And my husband was so patient with me in that experience because I was just doing the absolute most. I wanted things my way, and I ended up apologizing for it later, especially to my mom and stuff, because I was out of control. But the day ended up beautiful, and to make it even sweeter, our friends from Atlanta drove up, didn't tell us they were coming, drove up and surprised us at the shower, and it was just great. Like, we got to spend some more time with them, and after the shower we went out to Jack's Beach, and we went to like some bar, and me at the bar. Joy, what is wrong with you? Anyways, it was a really chill one. It wasn't like a crazy bar. It was just like you sit in front of the water and like eat, and I was just stuffing my face with calamari. It was bomb. So baby shower was beautiful. So let's fast forward to labor. My due date was September the 15th. My husband was packing up to get ready to go to Alaska for 3 weeks. This was late July. So I was at home and I was in major nesting mode, especially when he left, because I mean, if you're married and you know how sometimes when your spouse like leaves to go to work or to go wherever, like when my husband goes away for like a week or two, that's when I take that time and just clean everything, because it's just me and him. So if he's out of the way, I have nothing stopping me from getting everything the way I want it to be. So I was crazy nesting, doing all this stuff, and everything was going fine. Before he left, I had a Braxton Hicks incident in the middle of the night, and it passed and I was fine, but my doctors told me I needed to chill out, stay hydrated. And I was doing those things, but I was still cleaning. I was chilling out, but I still wanted to have my house set up the way I wanted it set up for when the child came. So my husband's out there for like a week and a half maybe. It was only a 3-week thing, and he would be back like at least a month before the due date. So it was well before time. I got my hair braided. I moved my braiding appointment up a week because I got tired of doing my hair. And I got it done on that Saturday. That Monday I went to work. Everything was good because my coworkers were very supportive. When they finished working with the patient, they just wheeled them over to me so that I can treat my patient and I didn't have to get up. So I was following the doctor's orders. I was sitting down. And then the next day I was getting ready to come to work, and I had like the slightest tint of spotting. And I didn't think much of it. So I texted my boss. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in a little later than normal because I gotta stop at the doctor, but I'll be there. And she was like, cool. I get there, the doctor checks me, and she's like, girl, you're not going anywhere. You're 3 centimeters dilated. You're going across the street to the hospital. Of course, you know, you think you know how everything's gonna work out when you have a baby, but you literally never know what could happen. So I went across the street. I have these long goddess braids. They're super cute, but I'm pretty sure I look like I'm 15, and I'm just sitting in the waiting room crying because my mom's in Florida, my husband's in Alaska. I did have a lot of my coworkers are like family, so I knew that they had my back. I talked to them. I did have really good friends in the Atlanta area, but my main focus was getting my husband aware of what was going on and getting him on a plane to Georgia now. So there was a nurse there that was really cool. Her name is Holly. She was amazing. She calmed me down. She got me like chilled out. Like I was in there eating, I was happy. Like everything was cool. Get a hold of my husband. She tells him what's going on and gets the paperwork to get him on a plane. So that night he was on a plane back. Also, my boss was so kind enough to drive all the way to where the hospital was, which was far away from where she lived. And she stopped there, got my key, went to the house, and then got like, took my dog out, got a few things that I needed for the night. And then one of my good friends from college, she drove up from Atlanta and she actually spent the night. She brought me a few toiletries, some things I might need, and she just entertained me. And I have good people in my life. So the next day, another lady came to visit me. She's like a mother figure to me. She came and spent a couple hours, and by noon or a little bit after, my husband was here. He was in Georgia. I was like, all right, I'm ready. So nothing happened basically. They did what they had to do, and a couple days later, I was discharged from the hospital. They told me that I could not go back to work, which I hated because I wanted to work up until, like ideally, I wanted to work up until I started having contractions, because my maternity leave was for me and my baby. I didn't want to be at the house, oh, you can't work for a couple weeks, that's gonna be part of your maternity leave. I didn't want none of that. Let me work until this baby is coming out. They were like, girl, no, go sit down. So I went to the house and sat down and I relaxed, and I started having trouble breathing. And my husband was just like, at one point in the afternoon, he told me, you look worse now than what you did when we left the hospital. Are you sure you don't want to go back? I was like, if I'm going somewhere, I'm not going back. Like, I did not want to go back. I wanted to be at home. If I was gonna be waiting for the baby to come out, I was gonna be here at home. So he kept asking me, and I was like, nope. He bought me some Panera. I could barely eat. I was drinking water, and it felt like fire coming up in my chest. Heartburn was just, it was terrible. And at 11 o'clock that night, I dragged the suitcase out of the closet and I said, I'm gonna get a couple outfits and we can leave. So we get there that night and we're in the waiting room to go in the back, and I had been diagnosed with preeclampsia, so they were, rushing me in there to, it wasn't like a rushing like we're running, but it was just like, okay, this is serious. We're gonna bring you back there right away. They brought me back there in a wheelchair. My husband's joking with me, laughing with me, trying his best to keep my spirits up, because at that point I was totaled, basically.
What are you doing? Look at them legs, look at them ankles. Joy. Joy, look.
I was just done. Like, I was just, he was really sweet the whole time, kept my spirits uplifted. We finally go to the back. We get in the back, and it starts out with one nurse. If you've been admitted to the hospital for something that's kind of serious, you notice a few things, and she's checking stuff, and she's just like, the more she's working, the faster she's moving. I'm like, okay, girl, calm down, what's going on? Then it's 2 nurses, then it's 3 nurses. Then I see the doctor jogging down the hall, and he pulls my husband out into the hallway. I'm like, okay, I'm finna get up, what's going on? So my blood pressure had skyrocketed. They weighed me. I had gained 10 pounds of fluid in like 2 or 3 days. I was like, they were checking my reflexes and stuff, and they were like, look at this, like you are like they were barely touching me, and I was just like, my reflexes were on like 10. They were like, girl, what is going on? And another nurse comes in and she's like, girl, you're not gonna like me. And I'm like, when they say that, anxiety, I'm like, what are you gonna do to me? Tell me what you're gonna do to me, because I can't take it. If you know me, I have low pain tolerance. I was like, Jesus, what is gonna happen? He tells me, I gotta put this catheter in. And I was just like, okay, you know, I didn't think it was gonna be terrible, but the way she told me that, I was like, It was traumatic. Wasn't the worst thing about labor, but it was definitely a painful experience. Like all night I kept asking, when's the catheter coming out? Can we take the catheter out? Why is the catheter still in? Have you got enough fluids to take the catheter out? Can we take the catheter out? Like, I didn't know what was going on, so I was asking all these questions and they weren't even making sense. So anyways, basically the doctor talked to me and he told me like, look, things have gone left. All we want you to do is focus on not stressing yourself and staying calm, because we don't want you to end up having a seizure. Girl, that was the worst thing you could have told me, because I was just like, I had collected so much fluid and my blood pressure was so high, and they were trying to give me medication to get rid of some of the fluid and help with the blood pressure. It was a big mess. So I was like, okay, well, let me call my mom and tell her what's going on. And they were just like, no, don't look at the screen. We gonna turn the computer monitors off, turn the lights off. We just want you to be calm and serene. And I'm just like, So my husband had gotten a bit serious because he was realizing that this was more serious than we originally thought. Fast forward the next morning, the catheter comes out. The specialist came in to see me and he basically said it is unsafe for you to continue carrying this child, you know, for very much longer. So I think we're gonna play it safe and go ahead and induce labor. At 34 weeks, 6 days, they went ahead and induced me. That morning, they brought me breakfast and they told me, you can't eat that because you're having this baby today. Most likely, you're having this baby today, so you can't eat. So I was like, can you just give me something to make me feel like I ate? And they were like, how about some chicken broth? So I was like, I'll take it. I drank like 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth, and they started the Pitocin and all that, and I'm feeling good. I'm like, we're gonna have this baby. My husband left to go run a couple errands because we were expecting to be there a while. He had to take the dog out and get a couple things from home that I left. And I told him, I was like, hey, make sure you bring me my eyelashes because I'm about to beat my face. Like, I'm gonna be looking good for this. Max is gonna come out in style. Like, I'm gonna be like that mom. When I get nervous, I have to poop. That's just like, that's just how I am. So I felt a little something in my stomach and I was like, ooh, I need to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and I'm just like, got up, washing my hands, and I'm like, we're about to do this. And then I was like, ooh, that feeling came back. And I realized, like, I'm like, oh snap, these are contractions. So I'm like, oh girl, let me hurry up and go and do my face real quick, because they weren't very strong, but I was just like, ooh, how? That kind of like gas bubbles or something. And I was about 20 minutes into doing my makeup, the right contraction hit and I just threw everything down onto the table. Makeup, just eyebrow pencil on the floor, mascara and rolled over by the TV. I did not care. And at that point, that's when I called my husband and I said, sir, I think it's happening, you need to get here. He was only 5 minutes away, so he got there, the nurse got there, and I'm like, ooh, you need to slow it down because you turned up the Pitocin. I don't even know how that worked, but I was like, it's coming on strong. Can you please put me on the list for an epidural? So I'm on the list, and these things are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. At this point, I'm yelling expletives, and I'm just like, I can't sit still, and I'm frustrated. Well, after about 30 minutes, because I guess there was so much going on that day, she finally showed up, and when she came in that room and I realized who it was, I was busting open the back of the gown. I was like, here, this is my back, take it, do what you gotta do. Like, I am not playing, I want this. Like, after 30 minutes after getting the epidural, the pain started coming back, and I'm like, girl, I was just chilling, what happened? And she was like, oh, we might need to go a little higher in the dosage because, well, whatever, I don't remember. She gave me a little bit more, and I still feel the pain. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. So they were like, you know what? It's time to push. Let's just start pushing and let's have this baby. So I'm like, I'll try. I'm trying to push, and my husband's right there with me, and everything is going. You know, there's never, you can't really say, oh, it's great. It's just going. And he got to a point where I guess he got, stuck. Like, I was pushing and he was getting caught, like my pelvis, like where he was like going and he was going back and he's going. And I would just push so hard to where I would just vomit. And of course, as soon as I'm vomiting, chicken broth, just like push. It's just, it was terrible. My husband was like wiping my mouth, and at the time I didn't think he was wiping it good enough, so I was like, I got it. And I'm wiping it, and he's like, you are smearing it all over your face. He took the towel out, he was wiping my mouth and holding the bag for me to throw up. I go through at least an hour or two of that, and then they bring in the bar for me to hold on to and like squat. So I'm doing that. I'm pushing, I'm vomiting, I'm pushing, I'm vomiting. So, I mean, I hate vomiting. I know it's part of the process, so I wasn't like tripping about that too much, but it was just like so miserable for me. And it just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I was pushing, and the nurse was like checking me, and she could see the baby's hair somehow. And she had her little glove, and she was like, oh my gosh, look at this hair. My husband and I had agreed. He was staying right here. He wasn't going down there. He was staying right here with me. Soon as that lady said, oh, look at all this hair. He's got so much hair. My husband, what? Hair? Let me see. I keep pushing with the bar and all that stuff, and it's just not. And I asked the doctor, I said, how much more do I have of this? And she's like, Joy, you still haven't gotten past the pelvis. And once you do, you still have a lot of pushing left to go. So at that point, I'm like, okay, so what are my options? And everybody's just like, and then I asked the doctor, I'm like, is a C-section really that bad? Like, is that? And she was like, no, both my kids were C-sections. And I was like, I want that. Like, this is for the birds. Like, C-section, go. So they come in, I sign the paperwork, and they wheel me into the OR, and they gave me more medication, which I felt like it was somebody laying on me. It was like crazy. That was like some crazy strong medicine. So they gave me that, and I'm just sitting here like, they're just prepping me, and I'm just looking like, by myself. And I just look over, and my husband's like talking to somebody and I'm like, well, hey. And he's like, Joy, I've been here for a few minutes now, and I'm like, I'm gonna just be quiet because I'm so out of it and confused. I was pretty out of it because I remember being so shocked that he was there. There's so much I don't remember, but I was really shocked that he was sitting right there. I had no idea he was sitting right next to me. They're like, all right, we're getting ready to get started. They go and like cut me open. I had expectations that this was gonna be a completely numb process. I felt it. I felt them cut my stomach, and I just felt like everything they were doing, even when they were closing up, like I can feel like, ugh. They told me, they were like, all right, you're gonna feel a lot of pressure, and I knew that meant they were about to pull the baby out. I'm thinking pressure, but it felt more like it was, whew. And apparently my husband, he told me afterwards, he was like, you were screaming for them to stop and wait a minute and hold on. Who does? I don't remember doing that, but he says I did. So they finally pull him out and they get him to start breathing and everything, because apparently he was refusing to breathe, which is also what I did when I was born. Like mother, like son. So he came out, they put him on my chest, and I was so exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally. Like I was like, the nurse was standing there and I was just like, girl, please don't go too far because I don't want to drop this baby. Like I'm like falling asleep holding him. But you know, that was one of the craziest experiences I've ever had in life. It was a beautiful experience. It was a beautiful day, but it was crazy. I just remembering some of the details from the day, just wow. He ended up having to stay in the NICU for about 11 days, in which I cried probably every day of that 11 days until he came home. And then he came home and he was my little sweet bear. I love my son so much, and he was definitely worth all of that. Crazy day, crazy experience, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening to my story time about my pregnancy and about my labor and delivery, whatever you call it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to hear more story times, or you have some suggestions of things that you want me to tell you about or my experience about, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button to support. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell so you know when I upload a video. I hope you guys have a great and wonderful rest of the week. You guys stay safe, stay distanced. Cheers.